So there's more people coming in right now. For the ones that are joining, we're just waiting a couple seconds. And I need to turn off my notifications, of course. All right, so I think we can start. So first of all, thank you very much for joining today's webinar. So my name is Hugo. I'm the Director of Online Marketing at Smoovu. And the other side of the line is Richie, so the founder of PriceLabs. Do you want to say hi?
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar with us today.
Yeah, so the main goal of this webinar is basically to provide value for you guys in terms of dynamic pricing. So I mean, 2021 or this year has been quite a weird year for all of us. And basically, there's some great news in terms of vaccine for next year. So we hope that next year we'll have some sort of, more business towards us. And also because, Airbnb changed their pricing model or their commission fee to 100% host only. So we thought that we basically this would be a great time to do a webinar towards dynamic pricing. So I am myself a host, so I definitely know the value of dynamic pricing. That's why I keep pushing actually, so we can do this and show to you guys the value of it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do. I'm going to show a couple of slides about Smoovu for the ones that coming from PriceLabs or just joined the webinar that don't know a bit about Smoovu. This is just 5 slides, so it's going to be 3 minutes. We will do open Q&A. So if you guys have any questions in between, just write them on the chat, and I will then join in between and just tell Richie to answer the questions if that is for PriceLabs, and of course I will answer for Smoovu. We will also record this webinar, and that means that we're going to send you guys afterwards all the recording and the slides. So that's more or less a bit about the introduction for me. So Richie, can you confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to start with a little bit about Smoovu. Like I said, just a couple slides. So we are basically an all-in-one vacation rental software, and we call it an all-in-one because we don't make any differentiation in terms of tools. So meaning if you join Smoovu or if you are a Smoovu user, you have access to all the tools, because there's a lot of channel managers and PMSs that really just restrict tools according to your plan. And we try to simplify things, and because we're also hosts, we develop things for hosts, so it doesn't make any sense to charge you for more for tools that we all need, right? So we are basically in a Prime as a channel manager, so we connect pretty much all major OTAs, so Airbnb, Booking, Trip.com, Agada, Expedia, plus a lot of other niche portals. And we synchronize pretty much all your bookings, meaning if something comes in from Airbnb, we synchronize your calendar to in real time to Booking.com and so on. We also have a PMS system, meaning that you can manage all your reservations or your bookings via Smoovu. We also send and do the price synchronization for all your prices, and this is where it comes then later on PriceLabs, meaning that if you decide to use dynamic pricing, basically what it's going to do is PriceLabs is going to send us the prices, and we're going to synchronize the prices to all the channels that you have connected, right? You also have access to a booking website, meaning that you can create a website for your accommodations. You can also integrate our booking engine, meaning that you can also accept towards the booking website reservations with Stripe and PayPal. So meaning you can add your credentials and you get basically paid directly into your account. So there's no commission on this. Smoovu will never charge commission on any bookings. The only thing you pay for sure is the payment processing on PayPal and Stripe. We have the features. They are separate because we have customers that only need, or they already have websites, so they only need the booking engine. So you can also activate the booking engine separately and just integrate it into your website via iframe. So it's very easy, even for someone that doesn't know code. It's very easy, just a line of code, and that's it. We also have unified inboxes and templates. Sorry, because we are connected and we are the preferred software partner for Airbnb and Booking. We have access definitely to their messaging API. So meaning the unified inbox is you can basically connect and contact all your reservations or all your guests within the reservations via Smoovu, meaning that you don't have to log in all the portals just to connect or just to send a message. And within this unified inbox, there's also the ability to create templates, right? So you can create templates to and basically optimize your communications from, I don't know, thank you for your booking email to here are your guidelines. You can basically optimize everything on Smoovu's account. One other great feature is that you have access to a dynamic guest guide, meaning you can create per accommodation a single guide, which is dynamic. So you set up once the guest guide with all the information that you need. I don't know, Wi-Fi credentials. You can add maps. You can add your house rules. You can add also smart locks, keypads or codes into that guide. And basically what Smoovu does is provides you a link that you can actually connect to your template, and it sends to the customer automatically. And we replace basically the header within the reservations information, right? So the guest name, when he's checking in, checking out, and you can also cross-sell within that guest dynamic guide some other stuff like a pre-filled fridge. So you can definitely just try to monetize even more and without any commission. So that's pretty good. And of course, you all have access to statistics. So right now is if you're working with all the major OTAs or other portals, you have to basically internally follow up with all their statistics, where the bookings come from, how much is it, cancellations, and so on and so forth. So we wrap up everything for you on Smoovu's statistics page, and you basically can follow up with that. You can also create assistant accounts, for instance, and if you want to give access to anyone or to your tax accountant, for instance, in towards this statistics, you can also do, or give access to your cleaning lady and so on. So these are the top products that we have at Smoovu, and there's one or two more that I'm not covering today, but you can also definitely look at smoovu.com. And like I said, this is one subscription, all tools. We don't make any difference in terms of, we don't restrict any tools. So in terms of how much does it cost? I know, because like I said, I'm also I know this is definitely a hot topic. What we try to do here is we try to simplify it. So, and Smoovu is probably one of the fairest channel managers going to find, because we charge per unit. So as you know, many do on bundles from 1 to 5 accommodations, 5 to 10, and so on. That doesn't make sense for us. So we charge on a monthly payment. So if you want to play monthly, 19 euros for your first unit, and then 5 euros for each additional unit. If you want to pay yearly, you already automatically a 20% discount. So it's 15.20 euros for your first unit and 4 euros for each additional unit. So I think this is very fair. And if you want 3, you're going to pay for 3. If you want 10, you're going to pay for 10, not more, not less, right? If you have actually more than 20 units, you can contact our sales team, and we can definitely provide you with a quote. Just a little bit about Smoovu in terms of KPIs. So we connect, like I said, a lot of channels, 100 plus. And trust me, there are that many channels that we can connect to. We manage 70,000 listings throughout all the portals. We manage 200,000 bookings per month. Our support is available in 7 languages, so we speak 7 languages, and we also available 6 days per week, so meaning on Saturday including. And we've been in business since 2014, right? So I think we have a little bit of experience in terms of this, 6 years in the business. And the last point is, of course, the customer reviews. So we build a lot of our tools based on the customer reviews and what do you think about us? And you can definitely look at our reviews at smoovu.com/reviews. So I think that's a pretty good start to see what other hosts say about us. And that's basically it. So like I promised, just a few slides. You can definitely join in if you're already not, of course, join into a free trial for 14 days at Smoovu. Like I said, the software and the website are available in 7 languages. So English, German, Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Greek. And we have agents definitely that can support you in all language. So feel free to contact us if you need anything. And that's basically it about us. So I try to keep as fast as possible, concise as possible. And yeah, if you need anything, just let me know in between. Like I said, we are preferred partner from all the major OTAs, so we have a bit of experience here. Anything just in between after Richie takes over, if you have any questions in terms of Smoovu, just ask on the chat and I will just answer. But yeah, that's it. So Richie, do you want to take over?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Hugo. Really appreciate this. And thank you everyone who's joined in. Really appreciate it. Hugo, if you can stop sharing, I'll share my screen. All right, fantastic. And if you could confirm for me that you can see my screen. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining in this webinar. We're going to talk about pricing strategies for 2021, co-hosted by PriceLabs and Smoovu, as you already know. Quick housekeeping stuff. I see there are a lot of people on this call. If you can't hear us, be sure to connect to your audio so that you can actually hear us. Note that we cannot hear you on this call, right? We have a lot of participants on this call, so we can't actually hear you. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A and a chat button. If you can post your questions in the Q&A one, it's easier for us to manage. Ideally, don't use chat. It's just very messy to reply on chats, but the Q&A tool is very good tool in Zoom. As we go through the presentation, feel free to ask questions. If there are specific questions about your account or a location, send it to us at support@pricelabs.co. Once again, support@pricelabs.co. If there are generic questions that you think audience will benefit from, feel free to ask them. And then lastly, we are recording this webinar and it will be available for future access. So if you have to leave in between for whatever, we'd love if you stick around the whole webinar, but if you have to leave, it's absolutely fine. Cool. With that, what I'm going to cover today, I have about 50 minutes here. I might get rushed in between, but what we're going to cover today is the what and why of dynamic pricing and rate automation. Next, we're going to talk about Airbnb's simplified fee structure and what you should do. I'm hoping everyone on the call has already done and adjusted their rates, but we're going to talk about that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about some pricing strategies for 2021, which really means use PriceLabs. But I will also get into some more things here. Cool. Before we get started, what is PriceLabs? PriceLabs is a revenue management platform. It's used by owners and property managers around the world. Whether you have one property or you have 500 properties, We have both kind of customers on our platform, and they use it equally well. They use us for a few different things here. And so we have 3 products. They use us for dynamic pricing, which is adjusting your rates daily, and we're going to talk a lot about it today. They use us for market data and market dashboards, where you can see, you don't have to use us for dynamic pricing, but you can see what's happening in your area. And then lastly, portfolio analytics, which is looking at what's happening to your properties. What does the revenue look like? What are the revenue trends looking like? And a lot of things I'll show you when we get into a little bit of a demo. We started in 2014. Our team is distributed between US, Brazil, Portugal, France, India. I'm personally based out of India. We price over 100,000 properties worldwide, and geographically we are in 100+ countries. So if you have a property that is that has other vacation rentals or hotels around it, we can price it. If you're on an island just by yourself, it's going to be a little bit hard for us to price that. And then once again, just a quick reminder, this is going to be recorded, and do post your questions in the Q&A box. Cool. And so now that you understand what PriceLabs does, and I've given you a brief sense, we have 3 different products. Market dashboards, these are fully automated, personalized dashboards for your location, and they refresh every day, and you'll see length of, you'll see what's the occupancy in your market, what's the what others are charging for your market, what length of stays are they getting, and a lot of stuff. And it is a 30-day free trial when you connect your Smoobu listing to PriceLabs. Our most popular that most customers use us for is dynamic pricing, where every night we look at market, we look at your property, and we update your prices so that you'll see that revenue uplift. It's a 30-day free trial. And then lastly, portfolio analytics is a super new product, less than a week old, but you can see real-time reports on your listing performance, your revenue performance, and a bunch of things. And it is free for all Smoovu users for the next 12 months. So if you're not at a minimum, go create a PriceLabs account and start using portfolio analytics. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so firstly, what is dynamic pricing? Dynamic pricing is adjusting your rates and availability frequently, not once a year, and based on various factors. Factors that look like market demand, seasonality, day of week, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of factors, but essentially think about it as adjusting your rates and availability frequently enough. You've all taken flights, and you know flight rates change every day, and they also change if you're trying to book 30 days in advance versus a week before, right? It's very much the similar concept. Why change or why have dynamic pricing? Because reacting early equals money. I'm going to use an example from very early on in this year, and we're sort of going through the similar cycle now. But in Feb, the whole COVID news started to spread. There was a lot of travel uncertainty, and owners who dropped their length of stays, their last minute length of stays. So instead of having 5-day length of stay, they allowed people to book for 2 nights, made money. In March, demand just dropped. And so you had to reduce your rates. If you reduce your rates, you were more competitive and you would have made money. In April, it was the time for longer stays. And if you optimized your account or your properties for midterm bookings, you would have made money. And then lastly, we saw a decent summer, right? Particularly the vacation rental areas, cities, not so much. But vacation areas saw a decent summer. And if you had dropped your rates in March because of COVID, and by the time June came around, you had not increased your rates, you would have left money on the table, right? So what you need to do is, as market conditions are changing, you need to react, and reacting early equals money. But reacting early also requires time. And that's where PriceLabs comes in, where we combine human plus automation. PriceLabs takes care of most of the automation, and you are the human who's in the driving seat. You get to control our algorithm quite a bit. And I'll show you how and why. But before that, let me walk you through what pricing strategy maturity looks like, right? I'm going to launch a poll as well, just to get a sense of where everyone is on this curve. So if you see, there is a poll that you'll see at the bottom. So please do fill it in. But the number one way where people start is flat pricing, where throughout the year their price is flat. They've looked at their historicals, they've looked at market where they're priced at, and that's their pricing. Seasonal pricing, they look at, okay, where like on average, my market is like summers are high, winters are low season, and around New Year is high season again. So I'm going to have slightly higher prices for these days, and rest of the days I'm going to have some different pricing. Fairly clear, right? It gets a little bit more complex when you get into this occasionally adjust pricing more, right? You look at a bunch of factors to adjust your pricing, except you may look at your performance every now and then to adjust your pricing. You may look at your market performance every now and then to adjust your pricing. You may look at when are you getting your bookings to adjust your pricing, or whatever have you, right? And so this, as you go through this curve, right, this requires very little time. This requires a little bit more time because you have to think about it. This requires a little bit more time, and which is why you only do it every so often and not daily to look at market data. And then you get into this realm of dynamic pricing and stays, right? Dynamic pricing and stays considers a lot of these factors and adjusts your rates instead of at times to daily. It adjusts your rates daily. And like this is just a list of factors. We look at a lot more. And the time that you spend doing this is probably equal or slightly more than the time that you'd spend on seasonal pricing. With that, if there are, I'm curious what people are doing. It's fantastic. I wish there was a way to share this. About 60% of you have voted, which is, I'm really thankful. 30% of you are using some kind of dynamic pricing and stays. Imagine the rest 70% are still on the rest of the spectrum. 24% of you are on the right track, but you are potentially spending a lot of time adjusting your prices. You get the value of why adjusting prices brings you money, except you're probably not convinced on the ROI of dynamic pricing. And then there are 30% of you or 40% of you who are in this flat and seasonal pricing. For you guys, at least if you're not considering something like a dynamic pricing solution, do consider getting to occasionally adjust pricing modes, because you're leaving quite a bit of money on the table here. Moving on, what does dynamic pricing actually look like in real life, right? So if you, this might be small for certain screens, but if you can see this, there is a dark black line and there is a dotted black line. Dotted black line was the price that PriceLabs had sent to this listing yesterday. Black line is the pricing that PriceLabs will send to this listing today. And you'd see that the dotted line is generally the same as black line, but on certain dates it's different, because we've looked at market data or we've looked at your listing performance and we have adjusted the rate for that day. For example, we have decreased the rate on this day, but we have increased the rate on this day, because here we are seeing some increase in demand. Here we are seeing no change in demand. We've also increased prices because we are seeing increase in demand. The other thing that you notice is this listing starts at about $100, goes all the way up to $200, $300, or then drops down. And in between, you'll see some spikes here. And at the bottom, you can see occupancy. And you can see this is December around New Year's. And because there is higher occupancy in New Year's, we are increasing prices. That's what dynamic pricing looks like. But dynamic pricing also should be in consideration to, okay, so you're increasing prices, you're decreasing prices, but where am I in comparison to my market? So now what I've layered in is if you look at light blue is your 50th to 75th percentile of the market, and the orangish is 25th to 50th percentile of the market. So on these dates that are very close by, I am at the lower end of the pricing spectrum. On these New Year dates, I'm at the higher end of the pricing spectrum because I know I'm going to get the booking there. And then as I go into Jan's low season, I am at the lower end of pricing spectrum so that I can get bookings. And then as I get into Feb and maybe markets starting to look a little bit better, and also it's far out, I am increasing prices to get higher. So your position in where you are changes daily based on what's happening in market demand and supply. So that's what dynamic pricing looks like. The next thing is dynamic stays. What do dynamic stays look like? I'm not sure, and I wish I had a poll here that I had created for like how many of you actually have stay restrictions and adjust them. Stay restrictions mean I'm only going to allow 2-day stays on my property, or on weekends, I'm going to allow 2 days, but every other day I'm okay with 1 day. What PriceLabs gives you flexibility is you have some default minimum stay, like your base minimum stay, which is 2 days for weekdays and 3 days for weekends. But then for last minute, I don't want to restrict to 3 days. So for the last 15 days, I will drop this down to 2 nights. And I will allow a booking that even on a weekend, I will allow a 2-night booking. And then I don't want to have these small bookings far out in my calendar and block my calendar. So then 45 days out, and this is all adjustable, of course, 45 days out, I will only allow 3-day stays, even if it's a weekday. 90 days out, I will only allow 7-day stays. I don't want to book my calendar. And then if I have gaps left, because say you only allow 3-day stays and you have a gap of 2 days left, that gap now is unbookable, right? But you can open up that gap with something called as minimum stay orphan bookings. It's a very complex topic to get into. If you there is plenty of material on our website to talk about it, and happy to chat if you send us an email at support@pricelabs.co about this. What does so you've done dynamic pricing, blah blah blah. What does the flow look like? PriceLabs will daily update your prices, daily update stay restrictions, and send it to Smoovu. And then Smoovu, you can add, because there are so many channel managers, OTAs, or these booking portals that you can connect to, you can set channel specific commission. We're going to get into Airbnb specific commission, but you can set channel specific commission, which is maybe for Airbnb, you want to set 15% and booking.com slightly different. And you add that in Smoobu, and then Smoobu will take the prices that we send daily to Smoobu and then send it to various OTAs. Hopefully that makes sense. I am going to get into demo and show you a little bit about what PriceLabs does. But let me quickly look at if there is any quick question. There is a question about where does your market data come from? Market data comes from Airbnb and booking.com. There is a question about, is portfolio analytics similar to AirDNA? Not really. Market dashboards is similar to AirDNA. Portfolio analytics is a little bit different. You'll see it in a bit. Cool.
Yeah, sorry, Richie. I'm just typing here all the questions. That's why I just didn't pop up with all the questions. But
no worries, no worries. I just wanted to quickly look at some of the questions, and then there is: do you plan to set based on events, new booking cancellation, automated price updates? Sometimes just update daily misses, important trends for properties, blah blah blah. This is something that PriceLabs does. This is something and Staza. So we update prices based on events that are happening in your market. We look for these events based on how the occupancies in your market is changing, and every day we update prices. I am going to move over to the demo. So can Hugo, can you confirm if you can see my PriceLabs screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh no, you okay. Can you see my PriceLabs screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Got it. Fantastic. So as I said, there are three different products: dynamic pricing, portfolio analytics, and market dashboards. We're going to look at all of them. Portfolio analytics is launched 2 weeks ago, and it's free for all Smoovu users. So you just need to connect your listing, and it's absolutely free. And I'm going to show you how it works. But first, let's look at dynamic pricing. There are a few different pages in dynamic pricing. I'm going to stay on review prices today for the spirit of moving through quickly in this presentation. When you come into PriceLabs and connect your Smoobu properties, you'll see property come in. A few of these fields will be empty. Come in and you'll click review prices. When you click review prices, we will go to Smoobu. We'll get all your listing data. We'll go to Airbnb. We'll go to booking.com. We'll get all sorts of market data. And then it'll take about 30 seconds to a minute the first time you do it, but you will see your calendar pop up. This calendar is where you can see all your prices, right, that we are recommending. One of the key factors for your pricing is your minimum, which you should always set. This is the lowest we will ever go. Second is base price. Everything depends on base price. Everything starts from a base price, and on top of that, we make adjustments. So base price is very, very crucial for you to set right. So you can quickly scroll through and look at various prices throughout the year. You can look at it through a drop down and see what prices we are recommending throughout the year. Next, you can come and also you see prices, but if you hover on any price, you will see a bunch of things that we tell you why we are charging and how much, like why we are charging an increased price. For example, if I look at New Year's, I am seeing that the demand factor for the Chicago property, and it's a dummy property, by the way, but the demand factor for this property is high, which is why I'm charging higher. The other thing that you would see here is this small little where you see twos and threes. This is because I've set my stay restrictions where for weekends I have a 3-day restriction, but for weekdays I have a 2-day restriction, right? And I can quickly change some of these. For example, on New Year's, I only want to allow 4-day restrictions. I can come in and add it, and it will get added. And now these dates will have 4-day restrictions. If I hit the save and refresh, it will recalculate, and you will also see these numbers update. So yeah, so you can look at a bunch of these things. If you're not, if you want to adjust certain rates, you can quickly hover over and then change those rates. We provide a lot of customization factors. So this is our algorithm working, but you can come in and add, there is like a list of customization factors that you can change if you wanted to, right? Our base algorithm works very, very well, but sometimes people have their own nuances that they want to change. Every week, we do training webinars in English, Portuguese, Spanish, and French, where we talk about basic PriceLabs, using PriceLabs in the most basic way, and then we also talk about advanced pricing PriceLabs usage. So this is the calendar. The next thing is neighborhood data. This is where I am looking at 300 closest listings to you. If you remember, I've shown you the screen on one of my PowerPoints. The dotted line, let me start with dotted line. Dotted line is what my pricing was, what PriceLabs sent yesterday. On top of that, this is where PriceLabs is calculating the prices today. Now, how does that compare to 75th to 50th percentile of the market? I am generally higher than the market. And of course, I am generally higher than 50th and 25th percentile of the market. I can also look at what the market occupancy looks like. And you won't see anything in booked occupancy because it's a dummy listing, but you can also see what the booked occupancy would look like. You'll scroll down and these are 300 closest properties. You'll see for 1 bedroom, the 25th percentile is priced around $83, 50th percentile around $114, and 75th percentile around $149. So if you know your property and you say, hey, my property generally is like between that 50th to 75th percentile, or it's higher than 75th percentile, you can say, I want to charge higher than 150, or I want to charge higher than 114. And that number is what you will plug in into this base price. You don't want to get super granular. So like, you don't want to nickel and dime over 200 versus 210. When you start, go with 210 or go with 200. And as you go in, initially every 3 to 4 weeks, you should adjust your base rate. And then once you've gotten a hang of it, every 3 months, you should adjust your base rate. This looks at all the bedrooms in your area because it's looking at 300 closings properties. You can remove the bedrooms to match your bedroom type. So you can say only look at sorry, 2 bedrooms in my area. I'm making a mistake here. Only look at 2 bedrooms in the area. I'll click apply, and this data will reload to show me how these 300 closest listings are priced. So now, if say assuming my bedroom was 2 bedroom, you can see I am now at, I'll remove the 75th percentile. So you can see I'm at slightly about 25th percentile, but then I go lower than 25th percentile if I was a 2 bedroom, right? Because 2 bedrooms on average are 50th percentile are priced at 189 and 75th percentile at 252. I want to be slightly higher maybe, right? In terms of my base price. That's what dynamic pricing looks like. If you're happy with your prices, you click sync now, and we will update prices every day. Next, if you remember, I said 3 tools: dynamic pricing, portfolio analytics, and market dashboards. I am sorry once again rushing into this, but for a detailed demo, you can sign up for our training webinars. It happens every week in 4 different languages. Portfolio analytics. We will pull data from Smoovu to look at what do your listings look like, listing performances look like, and then we will show you your revenue performance, how much bookings in the last 30 days have made, and then you can compare it with the previous 30 days. So you see, this is a dummy account, but made 500K, and but less 74K less than previous 30 days. I can also see bookings made in last 30 days versus stays in last 30 days. I can compare it with previous 30 days or same period last year. You'll see revenue, average length of stay, median time, number of reservations. It's free for Smoovu users. If you have multiple listings, you will see a listing level insight where you see % occupancy in the next 30 days and days since last booking. It's a very, very good tool because if you have multiple properties and if someone's in this red zone, you want to look at their pricing and say, what's happening to that listing price? And if someone's in this green zone, you may want to increase the base prices because this listing has high occupancy. You can get a good rate for it. You'll also see all of these in a table, like everything that's up here in a table. And if you wanted to only focus on certain listings, you just select that, and then the table will show. It takes a few seconds to populate, but it'll show days since last booking, average lead time, and bunch of that data set. For all of your properties, you will also see various date level insights. What does occupancy versus price look like? What does revenue look like? And then a bunch of other things that you can very quickly see. You can see monthly trends. What does your revenue look like? Average book rate, blah, blah, blah. And so you can see a bunch of these things. You can see day of week trends in your area. And again, it's free. So if you were in that pricing strategy where you were at flat or seasonal and wanted to move to adjust often, you can quickly look at these tools to understand what your properties are doing. You can look at day of week trends. You can see at length of booking. And then lastly, you can also say, okay, this is where I am pricing. This is where my occupancy is at, but I want to compare against my market. Say my market is Dallas. I can just quickly come and I'll show you how to create this. I can quickly see how am I priced. Ignore the data set, it's dummy, but how am I priced compared to my market? In green is my pricing, light gray and dark grays are 75th percentile and market median. And I can also quickly choose only want to look at 2 bedroom in this market. How am I priced compared to 2 bedroom? and that gives you very quickly a comparison of where you are in terms of your pricing compared to the market. Once again, this market piece is not free. Everything above this, so on the left, KPIs through this is free. This part is not free, because for this part, you need the next thing, which is market dashboards, which is someone had asked about, is it similar to ADNA? This piece is similar to ADNA, where I've already pulled a market dashboard for, say, Rome. In this, what you do is you specify an address and you give us a radius. And so in Rome right now, we are looking at starting at listings in this area. And we're looking at the 300 closest listings. We're looking at all the listings in 20 kilometers up to 1,000 listings. And you'll see an overview of what that looks like. You'll see what kind of bookings they're getting. You can quickly see price and occupancy in this area, what the occupancy looks like, how many new bookings are coming in. You can see how people are pricing for the future. You can go back, you can go all the way till May 2020 and see how people were pricing at. You can see day of week pricing factor. You can look at length of stays. There is just a lot of data to look at. I don't want to spend time showing you various tabs here, but there's a lot of data that you can look at. This data is, again, available worldwide. All that you would do is come to PriceLabs, create an account. You'll click create new dashboard. You'll enter the address and go from that. For up to 1,000 listings, we charge $9.99 for this. With that, I'm going to jump back to my slide
I have
here.
a question. There's a question here from Armanda Glover.
Fantastic. Yeah.
The base price is to include a cleaning fee and taxes, since those factors always fix. So we set these elsewhere, and these stay unaffected by dynamic pricing, right?
Fantastic. The cleaning fee taxes are set in Smoobu, and those don't generally include base prices. Those generally you don't include them in your base price, but you can also get a sense of it once again from looking at these market dashboards to saying, are people including cleaning fees? If I look at cleaning fees, about 30% of bookings in my area, or 30% of the listings in this area do not have cleaning fees. Everyone else has cleaning fees. So you may want to layer in that cleaning fees in your base price if you belong in that 30%, or you may want to have it separate. And again, on these market dashboards, you can filter by bedroom type. If you're going to set up cleaning fees outside of your base price, you will do that in Smoovu.
Correct. Another question from Hugo Simões. Minimal pricing for January and August are totally different. I would have set that on. Would I need to change it every month?
No. So in PriceLabs, there is what I showed you today was basic customizations. There are advanced customizations. So in advanced customization, you'll go and you'll edit your seasonal price, where you'll just create seasons and you'll change the minimum price based on certain seasons.
Okay. So there's other couple questions there more.
That's fine. We can take them at the end of this and see if we can take them. Really sorry, guys. Lots of people on this webinar. We keep moving, and hopefully towards the end of it, we may be able to take some questions here.
Yeah. So just one thing. So those if there's more specific questions that we can not answer now, I'm sure if they're towards us or towards PriceLabs, we can definitely just get in contact with you guys. For instance, I see Marcel Winter and Falk Eckhoff. We can definitely help you guys somehow then later on. Okay.
Got it. Fantastic. And once again, a quick reminder, 3 products: market dashboards, dynamic pricing, and portfolio analytics. Portfolio analytics is free for all Smoovu users. All that you need to do is create a PriceLabs account and connect your Smoovu listings. Dynamic pricing has a 30-day free trial for all Smoovu users. Market dashboards, we charge $9.99 per market dashboard. But if you start a dynamic pricing trial, you will also get 30 days free on a market dashboard. So hopefully you'll use those things. Next, The next topic that we wanted to talk about here was adjusting rates for Airbnb's simplified pricing structure. How are we doing on time here? We have about 15 minutes. Cool. Adjusting rates for Airbnb simplified fee structure. So hopefully at this point, most of you know it. If you're using Smoobu or any other property management system, and you're not in any of these countries, Airbnb has migrated you from this kind of a pricing structure where they used to charge hosts 3% and guests about 14.2% to host only where they'll charge you 15%. What that means is if like your payout will reduce and you have to increase your prices to keep your payout the same. And more details about Airbnb simplified pricing structure, you can find it on this Airbnb link. When we share the deck, you can find the link in that deck. Yeah.
Just a small note, because we noticed, so basically this new host fee is made by Airbnb. So as Smoovu and any other channel has nothing to do with this, because we see a couple customers just asking in terms of the new pricing. The only thing that actually changed is that Airbnb made this pricing mandatory for connected customers, meaning customers that have channel managers, a little bit earlier, right? So it was yesterday, but this model will go online for everyone else. So we have nothing to do with that, just to make sure.
Yeah. Every PMS that is out there, except for unless you're a property manager or host in these countries, Airbnb is moving you to 15%, and at some point probably they'll move this to 15%. It's not as bad because essentially they're basically trying to get a rate parity between what your Booking.com prices are and what your Airbnb prices are. So anyway, so what do you do if you're in this and if you've already not made the change? If you were previously setting a markup of 3% in Smoobu for Airbnb and you had a different markup for Booking.com, then you increase your prices by 15%. If you were not setting a markup, right, previously, to keep your payout exactly the same as before, you have to increase 14.1%. And guys, I can't stress this enough. And maybe you don't want to get as nuanced as 14.1%. Maybe you just want to do 15%. But I can't stress this enough. Go in and do it today. And I will stop sharing and give it back to Hugo to show you where to do it in Smoobu, so that you can actually make this change now so that you're not losing on the money. It's a big change. 15% is a big change.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you confirm? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, this is very, very easy at Smoobu. As soon as you have, of course, PriceLab connected and that's on running. So you go to the prices section. And basically, what you can do here is an overview of the pricings per accommodation and per channel. So these are the pricings that that you can have it manually here, but be aware that if you are connected to a dynamic pricing solution as is PriceLabs, if you change it here, they're going to be overwritten. Okay, so all settings in this case on my account are being overwritten by PriceLabs, except one thing. So that is the price markup. And the price markup gives you the ability to add to certain channels a top percentage. And even though Airbnb now is going to the 15%, it's still 1.2% cheaper than Booking, right? Because Booking also now, or since a few months, also charges the payment processing fees. So what you can do here, go to settings and price settings markup, and you can add here a markup per connected channel. In this case, I have Airbnb 0%. This is only mainly because I never worked in other than host only fee. So I only worked in Airbnb on that model because I was working with other channels as Booking.com. For me, it wouldn't make any sense to make different prices for different in that term. 1% more is different than 13 or 14% or 11% less in this case. So And here you can change basically the markup. In this case, I have 0% for Airbnb and 2% for Booking. Okay, as soon as I hit override prices, the prices are going to be pulled from PriceLabs, and then we had to that pricing, which is this base pricing, we had that markup in this case, 2% only on my account for booking.com, and we sent as it is then later to the channels. Okay, so please be aware that all the synchronization of the pricing is going to happen here, so you need to keep this in the account, and this is the setting that you need to change. So that's more or less the only thing you need to do. Everything else on the settings, on the dynamic pricing, you should do on your PriceLabs account, because they definitely, they can help with that. In that term, we are just, in that case, the synchronization partner. And so that's more or less it. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to give it back to you.
Fantastic. Let me share my screen again here. And guys, sorry, 10 minutes. We will stick around after this to answer some of the questions, but hopefully this next piece is some pricing strategies to use for 2021. A good chunk of you are already using dynamic pricing, so that's good. I'm going to roll out another poll here to quickly see. Let me see, how do I do this? Okay. To quickly ask you some questions, but I will continue talking. Do fill out this poll, and it'll be interesting to see how everyone's doing. So, okay, so you'll see a poll at the bottom of your screen once again. Cool. Let me just verify this. Yeah, cool. So some pricing strategies for you to use in 2021. Of course, there's only one pricing strategy, which is you should use PriceLabs. But if not, here are some ideas for you to consider for 2021. One, monitor the last minute demand in your area, whether you're using your own properties as an example, you're using AirDNA, you're using PriceLabs' market dashboards, you're using something else, but just know what the last minute demand in your area looks like. 2020, we saw the demand shift from people booking a couple of weeks out, couple of months out, to just very, very last week. So do know what your last minute demand looks like, and you may want to adjust your last minute rates, right? For example, if the demand is low in the, and not for example, so that's your last minute demand strategy. If the demand in near term, so December or January, it looks low, and you can once again check any of the platforms, or you can look at your Airbnb data or whatever, right? You may want to decrease your rates for the near term dates. Of course, PriceLabs automatically does that, so not applicable to PriceLabs users, but anyone else. You may want to decrease your rates for near term dates if the demand is low, which generally in Europe is expected to be. We'll see what Jan brings, but December, except for the peak holiday season, it's expected to be a little low. Understand length of stays in your market for near term. So for the again for December, January, Feb, understand what the length of stays in your market look like, and you may want to adjust your rates a little bit based on length of stay in your market. Hopefully that makes sense. Next is making your calendar available. And I'm very curious to look at the poll. Guys, if you have not filled out the poll, still waiting for a bunch of people to fill out the poll. Do go in and fill out the poll. But make your calendar available. 2021 is going to be such a weird year. And I know a few folks like to only make the calendars available 3 months or 6 months, but I would say you want to open up your calendar a few months out, 6 to 12 months. But for dates that are like, you don't know what March will bring or April will bring, just don't discount those rates. Keep those rates high enough to where you want them to be, right? But keep the availability open so that if someone's trying to book, they have an ability to book. The other important thing in parallel to this is adjust your stay restrictions. And of course, I want to add this caveat, which I forgot completely. It depends on your market and your personal strategy of what you're trying to do, right? There might be reasons when you why you may not want to open your calendar, and there might be reasons why what I'm saying next may not apply to you. But make your stay restrictions for like the far out dates, particularly summer days, longer. So if you allow 1 night bookings or 2 night bookings for the summer this year in 2021, you want to increase it and you want to have it rolling a little bit, which is what we call far out. So like 60 days out or 90 days out, you may want to allow only 4 days or 5 days bookings. Again, depends on your market. But the rationale is, say, July is going to be a peak holiday season, but if your stay restrictions are 2 days and you get a few 2-day bookings here and there, you will not be able to get a long booking. And if July looks a little like what we are seeing right now, you may not be able to transition to midterm and give someone that like allow someone to stay for 14 days together or 20 days together. So you want like you don't want to block your calendar with 1 or 2 bookings. But again, depends on your market, depends on your personal strategy, but something for you to chew on and think about. Then look, it's missing an at, but look at your data and market data to understand what weekday and weekend demand patterns look like. Because COVID's caused such a flurry of what demand in your market looks like, there's going to be a change, there's potentially a change in your market of how weekend patterns and weekday patterns look like. So you may want to change that. So do look at what's happening between weekday and weekend. And then finally, 2021, we may see some events. Again, if you're not using PriceLabs, increase rates for those events and holidays in your area and decrease them as you get closer to that date, maybe 60 days out, or maybe because we're not really seeing bookings really far out. And even if those bookings are coming far out and they want to book, they really want to book your property. The last minute bookings is where right now a lot of business is at. Of course, this is going back to you need to monitor this often, but something that you may want to look at. Those are my pricing strategies. Hopefully, and again, you'll have all of this deck to relook at. I am curious about the poll, and so about 70% of you responded to the poll. The question is, do you adjust your rates for last minute? 50% of you do not, and about 50% of you do. I should have asked, how often do you adjust your last minute rates? Because every day, so if you discount your last 10 days, every day that last 10 day changes, right? That marker changes. But the 50% who don't, you should look into a differential pricing for last minute as to where you want to be in comparison to your competition. Next was, do you have stay restrictions? This is great to hear. 85% of you have stay restrictions. Those who don't, I'm assuming either you didn't understand stay restrictions, but if you did, you do want to put in some stay restrictions. Do you adjust your stay restrictions based on the time of the year? Again, 50-50, 50% of you don't. Something to consider because demand is not the same throughout the year. Do you adjust stay restrictions based on lead time? 30% of you said yes, and 70% of you said no. This is something that you definitely want to look at and adjust your stay restrictions based on your lead time. It is money. How far out is your calendar open? Good to see very few people have less than 3 months. A lot of people have 3 to 6 months, and then about 70% of you have, or 75% of you have greater than 6 months. 3 to 6 months, rethink about why are you only open for 3 to 6 months? Is it just because you're not sure whether you'll be in business, or if it is like just reconsider why you're having only a few days that are open. Cool. With that,
I have 2 questions for you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So there's a question here. How often is the price sync made between PriceLabs and Smoovu? That's the first one.
It is made every day. Every day, we look at what has changed in the market, what has changed about your own listing occupancy, and we will go and update it every day.
Can you manually activate and deactivate PriceLabs per property if required?
Yes, yes. And also I should add, we only charge for listings that are active in a month with PriceLabs, right? So if you have 10 Smoobu listings, but if you're only using PriceLabs with 2 Smoobu listings in a month, we'll only charge you for 2. But what you can't do is turn on 2 and then stop 2 and stop them and then turn other 2 in a month. If you do that, we'll count that as 4. We'll only charge you for in a month whatever listings you're syncing with us, and you don't have to sync all.
Yeah, so one last question, I guess this is interesting for you. Does PriceLabs know what local events are taking place in the future? Concerts, sporting events, festivals, and thus increases price accordingly?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is we do this in 2 different ways. One, we have holidays around the world, right? So like Christmas, New Year, whatever happens every year at the same date, right? So earlier or late last month, we started adding all of these in so that you can see the prices for each of these, and we are protecting your prices. The second way for events, the way we look at events is we look at what's happening in your market. If there is even a slight bump in your market for a certain date compared to neighborhood dates, we will increase your price. And if we don't see that bump change in terms of like number of bookings that are coming in your market, we will start reducing your price. But if we see that bump change, we will keep increasing prices. So think of it as if something gets announced and a couple of bookings get made in your area, we will look at that and we will automatically increase your prices. Hi, am I still audible? Hi, can you still hear me, Hugo?
Sorry, the rookie mistake, on mute. Yeah, I was saying just keep doing it. It's fine. We have time.
Okay, cool. So then 3 different products once again, guys. Most popular, dynamic pricing. You get a 30-day free trial if you're a Smoovu user. Market dashboards is that AirDNA kind of data or like data that you can see for your market. If you're using dynamic pricing, you also get a 30-day free trial. And then portfolio analytics, where you can see real-time reporting, no charge. It's a free tool. I'm also summarizing it here in terms of how we charge. Dynamic pricing, it's based on a flat pricing. We don't charge percentage, and our pricing is on our website. You can find it. It depends on number of listings that you have. Portfolio analytics, it's free, and for Smoovu users, it's free for next 12 months. So do connect. If you have a Smoovu account, you have nothing to lose, and all that you'll get is some really pretty looking graphs. Or if COVID's been bad, not so pretty looking graphs, but you'll get data, what's happening with your properties. And then market dashboards, where you can see all kinds of data, market data. Again, in dynamic pricing, we do show you like data for 300 listings closest to you, right? And it's a limited data set, but if you're looking for more involved, and if you're like the one who likes to get into the weeds and understand very deeply, you can use this. All of the 3 products are independent, so you can use any one of them without using the other. Market dashboards is $9.99 for 1,000 listings. And then I wanted to end with, this is Capterra, our reviews. Ease of use, because of a lot of functionalities that we have, becomes a little bit cumbersome. We're trying to simplify, but still 4.8. And this is a rockstar thing, which is customer service. We serve 24/5, and yeah. So if you email us, we typically try to get back to you within a couple of hours, unless it's a complex query where we need to involve multiple people. With that, I am done with my presentation.
Cool.
How did I do?
Yeah,
I should have had a poll for that.
Yeah,
cool.
good as always. So Richie, first of all, thank you so much for your time, and then just showing here what PriceLabs can do. I mean, we Smoovu, we are channel managers, so we don't do dynamic pricings, but we are definitely the ones that synchronizing the prices to your channels. As a host myself, I can stress enough that this has been a major feature for me as a host. So you should definitely consider it. You'd have nothing to lose with the trials, either on Smoovu or as on PriceLabs. So you should definitely try it. So all the questions that have I tried to answer in between. Some of them I couldn't do it, but I guess me and Richie will just deliver this to our teams, and people will reach to you to answer the questions. And of course, like you said, we will send out this recording as well as these presentations in a few minutes via email. So, I mean, if you have anything, just put us.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I'm going I'm available for next 10 minutes. So I'm just going to quickly work through the questions.
Okay.
If you've asked a question, I'm going to answer them now where I can. If not, I'll just say, reach out to our support. James Wiggers, no worries that you got the timing wrong. We are going to send a recording later today. You'll get recording either from Hugo or from us, right? About this webinar. Where Bernadette Wolf, where does PriceLabs get the data from? We look at a few different sources. We get data from Airbnb, right? We get data from booking.com for hotels. And then we get data from, we of course know your property, so we know how to optimize that. Hugo Simoes, we look into bookings in your surroundings. Are you looking into searches or certain actual booking patterns? If so, which platforms do you look into? Yeah, we're looking for actual booking patterns, which is like how many listings are going away. We look at Airbnb and booking.com today. We are going to add Vrbo to our mix. But what we don't price match. What we look for is how many listings are going away. Hopefully that answers your question, Hugo. Feel free to email us if you have more questions on this. All right, Mike, how does PriceLabs take under consideration the quality of a property when setting a price? Good question. We don't. This is where the base price comes in. A slightly more nuanced topic. Do join our PriceLabs 101 webinar, and we will talk about how to think about the quality of your listing when thinking about pricing. Do you plan to offer trigger new bookings cancellations, not only daily? Smoobu PriceLabs synchronization. Do you plan to offer a trigger new bookings cancellations, not only daily? Not today, anesthesia. We only update daily. But if you have a cancellation, you can go into PriceLabs and click the Sync Now button. If you're not sure, email our support where the Sync Now button is. But if you hit Sync Now, we will automatically update prices into Smoovu. Can I send check-in instructions automatically in Airbnb? I think I can insert it into a document. This is probably for you, Hugo. Do you know check-in, check-out restrictions? Do you want to answer this?
So where is that question?
It's the last one. Daniel.
I can check-in instructions automatically in Airbnb. I cannot answer to that. I can answer that in at Smoovu. You can. So you can definitely create. You can use the guest guide, and then just use and set up all your guest guide in towards your accommodation. So house rules, Wi-Fi's, credentials, and so on. And then use that link and send them via messaging within Smoovu. So you can create templates and automated templates based on triggers and just send them those instructions automatically.
Cool. I will mark that as answer slide.
Yeah.
Okay. How does PriceLabs see I am a Smoovu client for portfolio analytics? You will, Bernadette, you'd have to connect your listings. And when you connect your listings, we know it's coming from Smoovu because you'll connect your Smoovu listings.
Yeah, just one thing. You go to settings and settings, integrations, and partners, and then you will find PriceLabs.
Fantastic. Yoko Properties. So PriceLabs only looks at adjusting base price, meaning policies, cleaning fee, additional people fee will still be done via Smoovu or directly in OTA. That's correct. That will be done in Smoovu or in OTA. I don't know if you want to answer that for Smoovu, Hugo. Cleaning fee.
So the cleaning fee, so there's ways to do this. So when you connect a channel manager, you can either connect as a full listing or just the basic, let's say, connection, which is booking, reservations, synchronizations, prices, and so on. So what we do here, because we don't want to mess with your with your photos and everything else. We try to make it simple. So on that connection is basic on pricings, bookings, reservations, everything that is relevant to the synchronization. So I would suggest you to do that on the OTAs, because then you have it, you would just do it at one time anyway. Unless, of course, you can do that on the Smoovu's website as well.
Yeah. Got it. Bernadette, you've asked about where do I get my data from? I've answered this question, so I'll move on. Michael, you've asked what does LOS mean? LOS, my apologies, means length of stay. So how long is a person staying for? Like if someone's staying for 3 days, that's 3 days length of stay. If someone's staying for 7 days, that's 7 days length of stay. Cool. Concerning last minute prices, if I set Airbnb weekly discount, say 20%, will it add to last minute discount for PriceLabs? So that's right. You only want to have discount either on Airbnb or on Smoovu or in PriceLabs. Just manage your discounts in one place. And if you want to have a special promotion on Airbnb for weekly discounts, then remove those discounts from PriceLabs. Hopefully that answers your question. But again, if you have a question, feel free to reach out to us via support. What is the time lag between making a change in PriceLabs and sync with Smoovu? Smoovu team is fantastic when it comes to API connection. It's pretty much automatic. We say, this is Yoko Properties question. When you make a change in PriceLabs, click sync now. Ideally, within 10 minutes, you should see that change in Smoovu, and then hopefully Smoovu to OTA is pretty immediate too, Hugo?
It's real time. It's real time. Yeah.
So Smoovu to OTA is pretty immediate. Guys, Smoovu team, anyone who's on this call and not using a Smoovu platform, but like Smoovu is fantastic when it comes to API connection. It's fairly seamless. We don't see any issues between PriceLabs and Smoovu integration. Anonymous, you've asked about occupancy-based adjustment. Can we show an example? Please attend our PriceLabs 201 or feel free to ping our support. Very, very complex question that may not be as helpful. So please ping our support. And then, yeah, I think I've done with most of the questions. There are some, there are some one-on-one questions that I will answer via email, but I still see about 65 people here on the call. Thank you so much, everyone. And then Anastasia, last question, based on your data, when do you forecast post-COVID full recovery for main markets? No idea, because no idea when when this pandemic will be over. Like a lot of us thought in September, October, we were kind of behind this, but then it's back here. So no idea, which is kind of why you want to have these dynamic rate adjustments and want to go in there and adjust your rates often. I don't know, Hugo, if you have a view on this, of when do you?
I mean, yeah, I mean, for me personally, also has been quite strange, of course, because of all of what happened. But let's just keep everything positive in that sense. Vaccine is here, so, and we have multiple, not just one, we have multiple vaccines. So we have a tendency, at least in myself, I see a tendency also. I already got many bookings. People start booking now for next year. They want to get out. They will be on spread to get out for 2021. So you should definitely leverage to that. If you leverage the pricings as it is from now for within forecast for 6 months, you can always change it. So especially in the summer and on beach locations, you always going to get bookings either way, because people want to go to those kind of locations. And this year wasn't different. It was just probably just cheaper, I guess. So you should definitely set up your stuff now. And if it doesn't get booked, just change it 3 months before. But I do believe things will be different next year. And I see personally, and also through what I see at Smoovu, a lot of bookings coming already for next year.
Yeah, and I also want to add, I don't know where the users are on this call from, but like Europe, we didn't see prices increase, but in US, just past the summer, so July, August, the prices were fairly high compared to like some people even charged in 2020 summer higher than 2019 summer. So so it's all about monitoring your area. You don't want to sell too cheap, but like you should also kind of know about your area from what you saw in July and August in your markets, right? That is sort of a trend also for you to think about when you think about your next couple of months.
All right.
Cool.
So I guess that's it. I mean, from our end, from Smoovu, thank you very much for being here. If you need anything, just let us know. We're here. And Richie, thank you for your time as well. We hope, and I guess I talk from Richie's name as well. We hope we've been valuable in us in terms of this webinar for you guys. So have a look, trial. There's trials for everything. So if you need anything, just let us know.
Yeah. And from my side, guys, there was a lot to cover, so we rushed through a lot of things here. Once again, feel free to reach out to us. It's hard to do one-on-one, or it's hard to do spend a lot of time on an individual topic on this. But for PriceLabs, you can email us at support@pricelabs.co, and if you create an account, you will see a bubble where you can raise an email ticket from within PriceLabs. So yeah, and then last plug, finally, if you're a Smoobu user, use Portfolio Analytics. It's free. Cool. Thank you so much. I'm going to end this webinar. Thank you everyone who stuck around here. Bye now.
Thank you, Richie. Bye-bye. Have a good day.